Hello everyone, happy business day 8. Today, instead of my normal vlog, I decided I'm gonna bring you a little snippet of an interview that I did for my second podcast, the Online Business Launch Lab. I talked to Andrea Mora, who is a TikTok expert. She's actually the person who convinced me to create my first TikTok. I was so, I was so self-conscious. I was kind of having an identity crisis about am I too old for this? I don't know. And I'm grateful to her for pushing me out of my comfort zone and also making me feel, not silly. So I think it will be a lot more valuable than just sitting and watching me eat my lunch, because that's all I did last week. I really did nothing of note. So hope you enjoy it. I'm going to leave the audio link in the description box as well if you'd like to listen to the full conversation. We talked for 40 minutes. But before we hop into the interview, I wanted to also talk just a little bit about the concept of collaboration, since that is today's business prompt. So I am very shy. I have a hard time in social situations, and so collaboration was something that always freaked me out and that I never really prioritized. But I've really been called to just hang out with other people, and learn from other people. I think I've also been experiencing things in my business that are new. I was pretty comfortable for a while, and then I kind of stepped into this new phase and this new business model, and it's confusing. It's different, it's not as written about, it's not as YouTubed about. So anyway, having other people in your corner is just so valuable. I have nothing really more to say about it than, just do it. Just do it. There's something for you if it's, hey, let me just do an Instagram live series. Let me do a podcast. Let me do a YouTube series and invite somebody on as an excuse to collaborate, kind of. Do it. It will really help you out. And let me tell you something, you will almost never get a no. If you do it the right way, if you come correct, if you come at people correct and not in a weird way. I know I personally never say no to podcast interviews. The only reason I say no is if they're totally not aligned, or if my schedule just doesn't allow for that at the time. But otherwise, I don't care how many followers somebody has. You never know where somebody is going to end up. Just because you're starting with 0 followers, you might start this podcast with 0 followers today. In 2 years, you could have one of the top podcasts on Apple Podcasts. How do I know, whether or not you're going to blow up? So selfishly, I'm going to say yes, because you might be in a position that I want to be in after I'm not cool in a couple years. But anyway, I'm going to stop rambling now. Let's hop into my interview with Andrea. So I asked my audience on Twitter and Instagram too, what questions do you have about TikTok? I got this question multiple times. This is, what are the recommended posting schedule? I keep hearing 3 to 4 times a day. Is that for new accounts too? What's recommended? Because when I hear that, I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know if I can do that.
No, I actually fight a lot with my other marketing friends because they're all about posting every single day. But the problem is that there is a slight sense of privilege when someone comes over and says, hey, I'm post 3 times a day, 5 times a day. And I know I understand what they're saying. You shouldn't be overthinking this content, but for business owners, this is their lifelong brand, where if you use the wrong audio because you just want to pump out content that, has inappropriate language in it or not, that could come back to haunt you. So a lot of people are always saying that you can only grow on TikTok if you post 3 to 5 times a day. That's absolute BS, because it is not true. If you don't have good content, if you don't have the right strategy, and I hate saying that word because it's so but if you just don't have the right approach and you're not following the anatomy of viral content that fits for the TikTok culture, then you're going to be pumping out content and not seeing any results, and that's going to disencourage you. So for me, what I always tell my clients is, give me a minimum of 3 videos a week. Let's start there. 3 videos, they can be short. I actually don't work with anyone that gives me less than 3 videos, because obviously there we are seeing a disconnect. But the biggest Latino creator on TikTok, Devon Rodriguez Art, he draws people in the train. I don't know if you've seen him. He focuses on quality over quantity. He probably posts once a month, but because his content is so good and his audience is so engaged, he's bigger than any other creator in the Latin American space.
You mentioned a couple things about the algorithm. I kind of hate the A, I call it the A word. I'm like, I know that's a much larger conversation. I know that's a lot of what you work on with your clients too, but do you have any quick tips for, how to kind of get ahead on that platform, how to cut through some of that saturation with your content?
Yeah, absolutely. So the first thing is shadow banning doesn't exist. I'm part of the Latinx Creatives program, which we get coaching directly from TikTok. And this is one of the main questions we always ask. Like, does TikTok penalize for not posting? No, they don't. Does TikTok penalize in terms of viewership? Like, do they just shadow ban accounts? No, they don't. Of course, if you violate a community guideline, think of it like if you come to my house and you tell me my carpet's ugly and that my dog is ugly, you better know that you're not going to be accepted in this household. So the way that I
Yep.
see it, if you violate a community guideline, of course, any machine would be like, this account posted bad video, account bad. But even then, it's very unlikely that you receive any sort of shadow banning. And then whenever I ask people, why do they think you're shadow banned? Or why do you think that, it's like, well, I went viral because I did like a video exposing my ex, or like I went viral because of these one things. And then I stopped doing them. And I'm like, clearly you have your answer. Either you went viral because of the wrong thing and now you can't keep it up, which
Yep.
is one of the main things that people are like, go viral, but there's so many consequences to that. Now, the standard for content on TikTok now, it's starting to get a little more pro than it was before. Like before, it was just like the easy selfie style videos, which are called UGC, user generated content. But now you see creators filming with their cameras and
Yep.
adding sound effects and whatnot. So standards just keep growing. It might happen that they're going to move towards a more YouTube like type of content where it's a little bit more professional and you have the professional mics and all these things, right? But that being said, it's like the standard probably changed from the last time you posted.
A lot of my audience, this is a big question for them too. They asked, well, okay, let me get this one out of the way first. Is it cringe to be over 30 and on TikTok?
Oh my gosh, no. In fact, it performs so much better. The older you are in the demographic, the better, because TikTok's trying to kick the kids out. From a psychological standpoint, I am more prone to listen to someone older in the app because I have this, belief that it's like they're older, therefore they could mentor me, and like I believe them more. So one of my clients, she is in her 60s, and
Oh, awesome.
she blew up super quick, and she's a literal witch. Like she's a literal, like, does all about manifestation and like spells for good luck and all that stuff. That is literally what she does.
Yep.
And it's the weirdest thing for a lot of people, but for her it works so well. And the persona that we built for her was that witch mom approach, like she was not just like witch tips or whatever, or like spiritual tips. We made a persona of her because she was older. We're like, how about you become the mom of all these little witches and whatnot? So she calls herself the witch mom, and it works so well for her. Like she has merch already and courses, like
Oh my
she's
gosh.
vibing.
I
Yeah.
love it. The second question about Gen Z and age and all that is, what if your audience, or at least you don't think your audience is in that demographic? Like, is there still value in being on TikTok?
Yeah, absolutely. Oh my gosh, I love this question. So there's a two-part answer to this. The first one is, even if your target audience are not Gen Zers control the mediums in terms of like what influences each platform now. So in order for you to stay culturally relevant and to even stay on the know and like understand what's happening right now, you kind of have to follow Gen Z trends. Where even my mom nowadays, she like scrolls to TikTok and like sends me recipes through that. Like forget YouTube recipes, you know what I mean? Like the
Yep.
only time she sends me YouTube stuff is whenever it's something deep dive that I can't understand out of a 15-second video, right? So
Yep.
you have to stay culturally relevant for your brand to be able to grow, because at some point you are going to start appealing in some way to a Gen Z audience or to a zillennials or millennial audience that's closer to that age, that's going to start understanding that. The second thing is, well, I said two parts, but it's a three part. The second thing is that Gen Z is a portion of TikTok, but you see it as eyeballs. I don't think of, oh, who's going to see this? I think of eyeballs, so many eyeballs, right? Where if you talk about your product or project and it happens to be in a way where it's witty and it's clever and it resonates with people, it is going to get the viewership that it needs, and that can lead you to press. One of my clients was a relationship coach, and there's a bunch of, she was like, there's a bunch of kids in these apps, like why am I going to do this? And then another client of mine is a cycle syncing coach. Like, I don't want to coach 12-year-olds on their first periods. I want to coach mothers that are like postpartum and all that stuff, right? I'm like, it's okay, just hop on the app. They got so much press, like a bunch of like TV, TED Talks came out of it too.
Amazing.
So it's like, you have to understand that, yes, you could see it from that perspective of kids are going to be watching my content. They're not buyers. Or you can see it from kids are going to blow this up. And then that's going to get me to the right eyes. And then the last thing is thinking of, oh my gosh, it sounds like such a potato, but thinking of Web3. So thinking of the future of, the creator economy.
Yes, totally.
As cringy as it sounds sometimes, like it truly is a very foreseeable future where now I'm thinking, okay, like I have my business, I have these other things, I'm a creator. Now, how can I leverage? How can I take it a step further? Is that affiliate marketing? Is that me launching a course that's just like a course on its own? Is that merch, right? Is that a I don't know, an NFT maybe of like a podcast episode or a poster that someone made, right? So it's thinking with this audience that in the future, I have a way for me to stay relevant and really focus on Web3 offerings.